right, fingers crossed that you can hear me. I'm doing a struggle review today. This is Claus. Good afternoon, neighbors and niggas, whatever. Anyway, so we start off with Virginia at the hospital. And she's recounting the story of what happened to her. Actually, let me pause this to make sure y'all can hear me. Okay, so it looks like you can hear me. We start off with Virginia at the hospital. She's recounting her story about, what happened to her while she was out in the swamp. And she gives this wild story about these men kidnapped her, tied her to a toilet, put peanut butter on her feet, and then she heard pig growls, and then she heard a ram. What was it? A rooster, a ram, and a bull. And I'm like, what does a ram sound like? Does it just sound like a sheep? How do you differentiate between a ram and some other bang animal, a goat or something? But whatever, she's giving that. And Desna's sitting there looking like I'm looking. What are you doing? And she goes on to say that she realized that it wasn't, a giant pig that was about to eat her feet. And the men that kidnapped her actually had one of those barnyard toys where you pull the lever and the thing spins and it goes, the rooster says, caw. And I'm like, ooh, this Wonder Bread truck looked like she finna tip over. I can't be bothered. Yeah, so it was that. And I was just like, this is so stupid. And then, they asked her how she knew that, yada, yada, yada. I wish these niggas would leave me alone. I'm sorry. I have road rage. But they asked her how she could see that it was a toy and not actually, and the men licking her feet rather than pigs. And she, goes around the way to say that it was a burlap sack over her head because she doesn't know what a burlap sack is called. So she's like, it's the material that I could kind of see through, but I kind of couldn't. And Desna's sitting over there like a burlap sack. And earlier when she said pig growls, Desna was like, oinks. And anyway, they asked her, do you know the man, anybody's name that took you? She looks around the room and she stumbles upon a little label on, one of the medical devices or something that says Titus. She reads that real quick and says, yeah, Titus. Someone named Titus may have called them. And everybody's looking like, Titus? Titus. Okay, that's peculiar. That's a strange and unusual name, but we're going to rock with it. Titus. And, okay, you're driving in the wrong direction. You're very, very wrong. Yeah, so they release her from the hospital. And then Desna says, she's very tired. Let me take her home, yada, yada, yada. Desna then goes into, what happened to the plan? What are you doing? What are we going through? Why? And Virginia's like, I improvised. I made my own plan. And, last week I said it was genius. She should have just let Desna know. Her recounting was not genius. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. She's actually really stupid. She still should have let Desna know because Desna probably would have come up with a better story. But whatever. So, Desna beat her own self up. And then, of course, not Desna, Virginia beat her own self up. And of course, Mother Desna, says she's going to take Virginia home because she's a flight risk and she can't be trusted. And I was like, yeah, that's your child now. You done adopted her. You done brought her home. Let me see. Uncle Daddy is at a gator fight with a police officer and they discussing and they looking for Titus. And I'm just like, this is strange. And then we swoop back over to the next morning at Desna's house. Dean and Virginia are bonding because, Dean is very, very smart, but that it does not take all of that. Jesus. Hold on, let me order my food. All right, so we back. Dean and Virginia are bonding. Dean, he's, a genius and Virginia's stupid, but Dean, he's on the spectrum. So he communicates on a different level. And I feel like Virginia and Dean kind of communicate on a similar wavelength. He's just way smarter than her. So, and I like that she was pretty comfortable with him, because I've hung out with a lot of special needs people. I have a lot of special needs friends and all that. And people like to tiptoe around it. And it's like, just be regular. What are you doing? And Virginia seemed like she was just regular. And Desna comes in and Dean has, information for her. He needs her to know that he has taken upon himself to be a superhero. He is going to be a bodybuilder, much like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And because Desna is having nightmares and she needs someone big and strong to protect her, and that's going to be Dean. And Desna's like, you don't have to, I'm okay, I can protect myself. And I thought that was really a brother thing to do. Like, he ain't finna go down swinging, he ain't finna let them just get her, he's finna be the brother. And that was so sweet. And when he said that Desna was having nightmares and stuff, the camera panned over to Virginia, and Virginia was giving what looks like, to me, a hint of regret or a hint of remorse, regret and remorse are basically the same thing. But it was like she looked like she didn't want Desna to feel that way. And I'm like, y'all are bonding. You are mother and daughter now. You just are. We swoop over to Candace and her husband, brother-nephew. Brother-nephew got in at 3 a.m. This morning because he was with Uncle Daddy talking to the police about, his brother, and we find out that he feels responsible for his brother's death. And then Candace says that, brother-nephew doesn't owe Uncle Daddy anything. And I'm like, I need to know more. I need to know more details about why Candace is so callous towards brother-nephew's Uncle Daddy. I just need to know. So we get over to the salon, and the girls are giving Virginia the sidiest of eyes when they walk in. And it's hilarious. Candace is giving, I don't like her, I don't see it for her. Polly is giving, I don't really see it for her, but hey, sweetums, how you doing, sugar love? And it's the cute. It was adorable. Like, Polly is like, something is wrong with her, but she's great. And then, of course, young M.A. Judy doesn't say nothing, but she looking like, what is going on? And they all pull Desna to the side, and they're like, are you crazy? What are you doing with this girl? She ain't no good, yada, yada. And Desna, much like a mother. And Candace even said, you don't have to be everybody's mama. And Desna's like, well, I'm the boss, the manager, I'm the owner, and she's going to be here. This is my child. Let her stay. Let her be. And so everybody's just like, all right, cool. Then Mandy calls, and it's a no on the new salon. Uncle Daddy and brother-nephew are at the range shooting and bonding over Roller and his death. And Uncle Daddy tells brother-nephew that he needs him to run the clinic, at least just for a week, and it'll be $10,000 for the week. And of course, brother-nephew says, I will do it, because I would have said the same thing. Hold on. So we swoop back over to the salon, and Virginia is being pampered, and I'm like, I don't remember Desna saying to the girls, pamper her, but they're, pampering her. And Virginia's giving I could just never eat peanut butter again. Maybe almond butter, but just never peanut butter. And I'm like, almond butter is disgusting. Like, I understand that it's healthy, but at what cost? It's so nasty. Maybe I had the sugar-free or the unsweetened almond butter one time, and, I spread it on my loaf, and I put them 2 pieces of bread together, and I took a hefty bite, because I like almonds, and I like butter, and I'm allergic to peanuts. So I was like, yeah, let me do this. Girl, that thing was so I couldn't. But anyway, on to Virginia. Polly is so inappropriate. She looks like, this is what I love about Polly. She looks very much like somebody who is very conservative, but she's mad inappropriate. She asked Virginia if she gave them folks any blowjobs, and Virginia, she has no shame. She's giving, I didn't, but I would have for some food. Just like, you hussy. Both of y'all are hussies, and I can't be bothered. And then Virginia goes on about how it was cold, and she had to walk through the swamp, and it was just freezing. She couldn't feel her feet. And the girls were like, it was 95 degrees all weekend. What you talking about? And I'm sitting there watching like, what do you mean cold? It don't get cold like that in Florida. It barely gets cold like that over here. And I'm this the South, but Lord, hold on. Change is coming. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm recording on my phone, and it falls over a whole lot more than my iPad. But I'm trying to drive carefully so we don't have any drama and confusion and things. But anyway, yeah. Where I live, it gets cool, but it almost never is cold enough for you not to be able to feel your feet. Anyway, and then the detective comes by, and he wants to talk to Virginia, and she recounts her story again, and is giving all the information and giving just an unnecessary amount of detail. She went to a payphone, and my mom was like, where you get the money for the payphone? And how'd you end up at the funeral, and she's like, oh, I saw it on Instagram. They're like, where's your phone? She's like, oh, well, I called my roommate from a payphone, and she saw it. There was a post, and then she told me. And I'm like, so your roommate dropped you off at the funeral, didn't take you home to get cleaned up, didn't take you to the hospital, none of that, just dropped you off at the funeral? Virginia, come on. You got to work with me. Like, I'm willing to help you with your lies, but you got to provide me with the base that makes sense. Oh, Virginia. And while she's talking, spilling all these lies, Desna busts in the office because the detective and Virginia are meeting in her office. And Desna busts in there talking about she needs change, and really she's just trying to break up the conversation. And it works. She breaks it up. Desna calls her office again, and her assistant is like, yeah, she's not going to be able to take your call. We'll get back to you next week. And then the assistant does something that an assistant should just never do, which is she said, yeah, and Mandy's going to an event tonight, and it's going to be da-da-da-da-da. And of course, naturally, Desna says, okay, well, tell Mandy I'll be there at 6:15. I know it started at 7, but I'm coming early. I want to get, a head start on the scrimp cocktails. Like, girl, why would you tell her that? You just don't ever do that. But she did. And so now Desna's going to crash the function. Virginia and Desna are riding around trying to make this alibi, solid. Because Virginia out here telling these lies that don't make sense. So they roll up to a gas station. And Virginia walks in, and she's giving, Virginia and Desna walk in, and Desna's giving, hey, did you work here yesterday? And he's like, I work here every day. And Virginia's like, Desna is like, oh, good, then you probably remember my friend here. He's like, I remember no such thing. I haven't seen anything. So Desna slides some money. It's like, do you remember her now? It's like, I still don't, I'm not sure. I don't know. She slides some more money, and it's like, how do you feel about it now? He's like, I feel quite the same. I'm not sure what happened. And I'm like, I must be poor, because when she slid the first bill, it could have been a 5, it could have been a 10. When she slid it to me, I'd be like, okay, so what you want me to say? So that's how we all know that I am not wealthy. But this man, I guess he got it. So he didn't feel no different about it. She slid 2 bills. I didn't really look to see what the bills were, but whatever it was, I took it. And then Virginia pops in after he, says he does not feel any different at all whatsoever. She says, how about, we throw in a Hummer? And I'm sitting here like, do you have a connection with General Motors? How you gonna get a Hummer? Like, y'all wasn't driving around in a Hummer. I didn't understand. And we all know that I'm just, poor little naive Kay. They go to the back, and I'm like, oh, that's what she meant by a Hummer. Oh, see, I'm not from Florida, so I wasn't sure what it was called, but I'm not sure what they call it. What? Okay, sorry, y'all, I'm barking. All right, so I wasn't sure what the girls in Florida called it. I'm looking for a vehicle, and that's not what he received. So she, put her mouth in places that I'm not sure mouths should be. And then when she came out, came back out to the car, and she and Desna are riding, back to wherever they're going. Virginia turns and says, I hope you're not judging me. Girl, when did you start having, some care? When did you start caring about when the girl, what the girls feel about you? Because Desna is your mama now. That's why. But Desna goes into, I most certainly am not judging you, but I need you to get a different set of skills. Do something else, because you can't, go through the world, sucking D's. You just can't do it. And Virginia's like, it's gotten me this far. Well, since you're not very far, you're not doing too hot. But whatever. I just, Virginia, listen to your mother and get another set of skills. Dean and young M.A. Judy are working out on the beach, and young M.A. Judy's girlfriend that she tried to get rid of pops in, and she just shows up on the beach, and I'm just like, did you put a tracking device on this woman? Like, how are you just appearing? But she's upset because she's been broken up with, and I'm like, this lesbian drama, you're doing too much. You're doing way too much, and you need to stop. And then we swoop over to Candace and Desna. They are, having vittles on the other side of the beach, and Candace asks Desna for a favor, and that favor is to train brother-nephew on working the clinic. Desna says no initially. She says she's trying to get out of this. She's trying to get away from this lifestyle. And Candace brings up who snuck you into the New Edition concert. And, you know, that apparently was the best night of Desna's life, and she decides she's going to train him. Excuse me. So, Uncle Daddy calls and tells Desna to come on down to Chi-Chi's, and it's urgent. And when she gets there, brother, nephew, and Uncle Daddy are sitting, and Virginia's like, I already know what this is about. I already talked to Candace. I've agreed. I'm going to train them. It's all good. And they're like, all right, cool. And as she's walking out, the officer's walking in, and Desna's like, oh, okay, so this officer's working with Uncle Daddy. And she overhears that the alibi checked out. So she's like, oh, thank God for that. I just don't think it's going to be this easy. I don't. Let me see. And while they were talking about training, both Desna and brother nephew say that this is only temporary. I'm just doing this for, you know, a second, and then I'm on to other things. And Uncle Daddy's like, I wish you wouldn't, but all right, you know, can't stop you. You're grown. And I'm like, you know, I'm just looking at him like, I don't think that's the way he's going to take this. We swooped back over to the beach, and young M.A. Judy was chatting down. She was saying words, full sentences, and I'm like, we on episode, 3, 4? She said more this episode than she said any of the prior episodes combined. I was like, Mama is chatty today. She was really giving you a lot. And she's talking to Dean. She's telling Dean, you know, well, Dean said, you know, he ran off and is like, I'm gonna find another trainer because I wanted a real one and you're not real and you're not focused on what I'm trying to do. And she's just like, you know, I'm focused, you know, and I don't know, she's chasing him all around the beach. Let's see. Desna crashes Mandy's party, and she looks very nice in the dress. I didn't really care for the hair. I felt like she should have done a different type of updo, because it just looked like she had on a baggy hat. No shade. But she crashes the party, and, you know, Mandy's like, I'm trying to get rid of you. What are you doing here? And while they're talking, one of Mandy's friends comes over and is like, oh my God, your nails, I can't believe, where'd you get them done? And Desna is like, oh, I did them myself. And I have a salon, yada, yada, yada. I'm looking forward to moving to a bigger salon, blah, blah, blah. And the girls are like, oh my gosh, we need you to do our nails, yada, yada. And so Desna's like, all right, well, show up Monday at 4. I got you. No problem. And so they, you know, end up showing up or whatever. We're going to get back to that. But I was like, Desna is networking down. She is a smart businesswoman. Even though she's on Mandy's nerves. It was a smart move. The doctor's trying to train Kenneth. And then, well, Desna and the doctor are both, you know, trying to train him. And then Kenneth runs off. Not Kenneth. The doctors are trying to train brother nephew. I'm sorry, y'all. And then Kenneth he's the doctor. He goes off into his office, and then you hear a loud, you know, holla and a kaboom. And it's like, Kenneth, what's going on? Turns out Kenneth's ex-wife is getting remarried. And it's like, girl, y'all broke up. This is not your current wife. So it just move on. But whatever. And then Desna's like, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be at the other end of the parking lot at my salon. I got stuff to do. But if you need, you know, if you have an emergency, call me. But don't have an emergency. Mandy is terrible. You know, Desna gets back to the salon. It's 4 o'clock. It's Monday. Mandy is sitting there giving, you know, scowls and I don't want to be here. And we have reservations in a couple of hours and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, why are you so rude? And while they're doing nails, you know, Polly is telling about how she got married at 14 and she was in this cult and she had to marry the, you know, the priest, the cult leader or whatever. And then they ran off together. And I'm like, it's a lot to Polly. She got a lot going on. So we get back over to the function being the clinic. Brother nephew is in there trying to motivate the drug addicts. And Kenneth calls his mama. He's outside talking to his mama about how his ex-wife's getting remarried. While he's doing that, one of the guys inside the clinic starts having a seizure. Seizing down boots. He's just vibrating, shaking, and rattling and rolling. And so brother nephew runs outside to get Kenneth. Kenneth comes back in. He's assisting the man having a seizure. And while this is happening, brother nephew opens up the room with all the pills for the delivery man. Now that is uncommon in business. The delivery man will drop it off at the front desk and leave. Why is it that you putting in the code to the pill room and having the delivery man go? That doesn't make sense. Like, brother nephew, you got to get smarter. But whatever, they do that, and naturally they've been robbed. And Uncle Daddy is pissed, yada yada yada. the girls back at the salon are drunk and gossiping. We find out Young and May Judy was married for 6 years, and then the girls find out they lost their reservation. And Desna is like, well, let's go to the, to the club. So they show up at the strip club and they're having a good time. Yada yada, blah blah blah. Mandy's coming around. She's saying she's having, a blast. And Desna tells her she wants a franchise. And I'm like, me too. And another thing that was really funny about that moment is one of the girls, I believe it was the Asian young lady, asks Desna if she could touch her hair, and Desna's like, no. And it was a moment. I lived for it, because no, you can't touch it. You can't touch my hair. You just can't. Let me see. Uncle Daddy calls Desna and Candace to the clinic, and they're sitting in there, and Uncle Daddy's pissed. He's hollering about, how could you let this happen? We lost all this money. I think it was $80,000, something like that. And this woman is running from a wasp. I know the struggle. But, yeah, so he's hollering, and the gay is over there, and he's, in the vending machine drinking pop, and then sitting in the wife's lap. And I'm like, it's a lot going on here. And Uncle Daddy tells Desna, Kenneth, and brother nephew that they have to pay it off, and he's disgraced. And I'm like, y'all don't have insurance. This is supposed to be a legitimate business, so y'all should be insured for these things. But ain't nobody think about that. Logistics, y'all. Logistics. Brother nephew and Candace are having like a mini fight and about this situation, and Candace is searching the house for her cigarettes, and she finds them, and brother nephew is like, no, you've been sober for 2 years. And I'm like, oh, you and Darla are sober soulmates, y'all right there together. And so Candace is smoking, and then next thing we know, she at the Jewish square dance. I'm like, what is this? And Desna goes in there to get her, and they invite her to partake in the square dance, and she says no, because that's not what niggas do. And I was like, you must not be from Texas, because niggas square dance in Texas. Do you hear me? Square dance, line dance, all the dances, they do it in Texas. But anyway, in Oklahoma, niggas really love a good square dance in Oklahoma. Not sure what it's about. But yeah, on to the next. Mandy calls. She says she's all in. She's never had that much fun in her life. It's just a good time. She's gonna find Desna the perfect, salon. Brother nephew, we find out, is a drug addict, and working at the clinic probably is not a good idea for a drug addict, since you around all them pills. And Candace is like, either the pills are gonna kill him, or whoever got roller is gonna kill him, and that's upsetting. And then we find out that Uncle Daddy is the thief. I kind of had an inkling, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, so Uncle Daddy stole his own pills to trick Desna and brother nephew into staying, for, this undisclosed amount of time. So whatever. And then we get to a scene where Desna is in the shower. Now, this scene here, we've had all these black moments where Desna's like, don't touch my hair, and niggas don't square dance, all of that. And then we swoop over to the scene with Desna in the shower, and she's taking a shower with no washcloth. She's literally just rubbing the soap on her body like a white person. And I'm like, now, Desna, where's your towel? You need your face towel and your booty towel, and then you need your drying towel. What are you doing? Whatever. So she gets out the shower, and then we swoop over, the camera pan. Well, she says, I've been waiting on you. What took you so long? And then we see that there's a man, and she and the man start having sex. I did not need to see these white booty cheeks, but there they are, lo and behold. She and the man start having sexual intercourse, and I'm like, my mama's asking, is that roller? And I'm like, I don't think it's roller, but I know I have zero crowd participation, but if you're watching and that that is or isn't roller, please let us know. Inquiring minds want to know. But I've already ran over my time for my lunch break, and I ain't ate my food yet. So let me hurry up and eat and get back in here. And I will see y'all probably tomorrow for Daytime Divas and Basketball Wives. All of my information is in the description below. I have a new like page that I would love y'all to check out. Also, probably going to be in the description if I don't forget. Matea's GoFundMe, always in the description. You guys can click the link, check on that, read all about it, donate, pray up, all of that. And I don't know if I said like, comment, and subscribe already, but do that. And I will catch y'all on the flip side. The flip side is what I said. The flip side. Y'all, peace.